4 hours ago, every radio telescope on Earth picked up the same signal at the exact same moment. It wasn't like Atlas's normal transmissions. This was different, louder, more urgent, and it was aimed directly at Earth, not broadcasting in all directions like usual, but focused like a spotlight pointing straight at us. The signal lasted exactly 11 seconds, then silence. Then it repeated. Same pattern, same intensity, over and over, once every 3 minutes, still happening right now as you're watching this. Within 20 minutes of the first transmission, NASA called an emergency meeting, not a scheduled briefing. An emergency. Scientists pulled from their homes at 2 a.m., military officials on conference calls. The kind of response you see when something has gone very, very wrong. Subscribe right now, because what that signal contains and why it sent NASA into panic mode suggests we're out of time for whatever Atlas came here to do. The signal isn't random noise, it's structured, organized, and according to the computers analyzing it, it contains 3 distinct parts: a warning tone, a countdown, and coordinates. Coordinates pointing to Earth, specifically to major cities across every continent. Let me explain what happened at NASA headquarters when this signal started. There's a protocol. NASA has plans for all kinds of space emergencies: asteroids on collision course, solar flares heading toward Earth, satellite malfunctions. They have procedures for everything. But there's one protocol that's never been activated before. It's called non-natural high-priority contact. Basically, what to do if aliens send us a message that seems urgent or threatening. At 2:17 a.m. Eastern Time, someone at NASA triggered that protocol for the first time in history. Lights came on in buildings that are usually empty at night. Phone calls went out to people who don't normally get called. Within an hour, more than 200 scientists and officials were on emergency video calls trying to figure out what Atlas was telling us. One person who was on those calls, speaking anonymously because they're not supposed to talk about it, described the atmosphere. Nobody was joking around. Nobody was calm. People who spend their careers studying space and never thought they'd hear an alien signal in their lifetime were staring at data showing exactly that. And it was repeating every 3 minutes, like someone desperately trying to get our attention. The warning tone is the part that has everyone scared. You know how emergency alert systems on phones have that specific sound? That harsh, attention-grabbing beep that makes you immediately stop what you're doing? The signal from ATLAS starts with something similar. It's not the same sound. It's not like they copied our emergency alerts, but it has the same properties: loud, harsh, impossible to ignore, the kind of sound that every human instinct recognizes as danger. Pay attention. An audio engineer who analyzed the signal said, "Whoever designed this tone understood psychology. This frequency range, this pattern, this intensity, it's specifically crafted to trigger alert responses in human nervous systems. It's literally designed to make us feel afraid and pay attention." Think about that. Atlas is broadcasting a sound engineered to scare humans, not accidentally creating noise that happens to sound alarming, deliberately making a warning sound that our brains recognize as danger. That means whoever sent this knows how humans think. They've studied us enough to know what sounds make us afraid, and they chose to use that knowledge. Then comes the countdown. Embedded in the signal, there's a sequence of numbers. They decrease with each repetition. It started at 11 days, 7 hours, 23 minutes when the first signal hit. Now, 4 hours later, it's counting down 11 days, 3 hours, 23 minutes. It's a timer, counting down to something. And based on the rate it's decreasing, it hits zero in exactly 11 days from now. Nobody knows what happens at zero. The signal doesn't explain. It just counts down, over and over, getting closer to that final moment. Scientists have been calculating what day and time that would be. November 7th, at approximately 3:17 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. A specific moment, not approximate, exact down to the minute, based on the countdown precision. What's significant about that moment is that when Atlas reaches its closest point to Earth, when something launches, when contact happens, when an ultimatum expires, we don't know. But Atlas is counting down to something specific, and they're making sure we all know about it. The coordinates are what triggered the panic at NASA. The signal doesn't just contain abstract numbers, it contains latitude and longitude positions, specific locations on Earth's surface, dozens of them. And they're not random spots in the ocean or empty deserts. They're cities. Every major population center on the planet is in that list. New York, London, Tokyo, Beijing, Mumbai, São Paulo, Moscow, Cairo, Sydney, Los Angeles, every continent, every major metropolitan area, hundreds of millions of people living at those exact coordinates. One analyst described seeing the coordinate list. It was like watching someone point at a map and mark every major city. They know where we live. They know where our population concentrations are. And they're broadcasting those locations back at us, along with a warning tone and a countdown. Why would someone send coordinates of major cities along with a warning signal? A few terrifying possibilities. Maybe they're warning us to evacuate those locations. You have 11 days to get people out of these cities before something happens. Maybe they're demonstrating knowledge as a threat. We know where everyone lives. We can target these locations if we choose to. Maybe they're identifying rendezvous points. Be at these locations in 11 days for contact. Or maybe it's something else entirely that we don't have the context to understand. But whatever it means, it's clearly meant to get our attention and communicate that Atlas has detailed information about human civilization's geography. NASA's official response came 3 hours after the signal started. A brief statement. NASA is aware of new electromagnetic emissions from Object 3 I/ATLAS. Analysis is ongoing. Updates will be provided as information becomes available. That's it. No mention of the warning tone. No mention of the countdown. No mention of the city coordinates. Just, we're aware, we're looking at it, we'll tell you more later. That careful non-statement is what convinced people something serious was happening. If this was just another transmission, NASA would explain what they found. The fact that they're not explaining means they don't want to say what they actually detected. But the signal isn't secret. Every radio telescope on Earth received it. Amateur astronomers with the right equipment heard it. Universities with radio arrays picked it up. The information is out there, whether NASA likes it or not. Within an hour of NASA's non-statement, decoded versions of the signal started appearing online. People who recorded the transmission, analyzed it, and shared what they found. The warning tone, the countdown, the coordinates. You can't suppress information that thousands of people detected simultaneously. By lunchtime, everyone knew. NASA's attempt at controlling the narrative failed before it started. By afternoon, other countries started responding. China's space agency released a statement acknowledging the signal and confirming the countdown. They didn't reveal the coordinates publicly, but they confirmed the transmission contains temporal references indicating a specific future date. Russia's space agency was more blunt. Object 3, I/ATLAS has transmitted a signal containing warning characteristics and location data. We are coordinating with international partners on appropriate response. The European Space Agency called an emergency meeting of member nations. Japan activated emergency space protocols. India moved military assets into position at key locations. Every major nation with space tracking capability knows what the signal contains, and every one of them is taking it seriously enough to activate emergency procedures and mobilize resources. The international response confirms this isn't business as usual. This isn't interesting signal from space object. This is all hands on deck. Prepare for something major. Meanwhile, the signal keeps repeating. Every 3 minutes, same warning tone, same countdown, now showing 10 days, 23 hours, 47 minutes. Same city coordinates, like an alarm clock that won't turn off. People near radio telescope installations report that you can actually hear it if you're in the right place with the right equipment. A harsh, pulsing sound every 3 minutes, broadcasting across frequencies that sensitive equipment picks up. One astronomer described it as psychologically disturbing. It's like someone knocking on your door. You ignore it, but they keep knocking. Every 3 minutes, never stopping, never changing. Just that same urgent message over and over. Warning, countdown, locations. It gets in your head. And it's not just scientists hearing it anymore. Ham radio operators are picking up interference every 3 minutes. Some satellite communications are experiencing brief disruptions synchronized with the signal. Even some people claim their electronics act weird when the transmission hits. Phones glitching, radios crackling, TVs showing brief static. Whether those latter effects are real or psychological doesn't matter as much as the fact that people are noticing. When something is broadcasting loud enough and often enough that ordinary people start detecting its presence, it's no longer an abstract space phenomenon. It's something intrusive, present, affecting daily life. This evening brought an unsettling development. A TLAS changed position. For days, it's been maintaining a relatively steady course. Then, about an hour ago, it started moving differently, adjusting its trajectory in ways that bring it closer to Earth, faster than previously calculated. Based on the new movement, Atlas will reach its closest approach not in 2 weeks like originally predicted, but in approximately 11 days, the exact same time frame as the countdown in the signal. That's not coincidence. Atlas is maneuvering itself to arrive exactly when the countdown reaches 0. The warning signal isn't abstract, it's a schedule. I will be there in 11 days. You have until then to prepare for whatever happens next. A trajectory specialist explained the implications. Atlas is synchronizing its arrival with the countdown. Whatever that signal is warning us about, whatever is supposed to happen when the timer hits 0, Atlas is positioning itself to be at optimal location relative to Earth at that exact moment. This is coordinated, planned, intentional. People are starting to react. Social media is exploding with discussions about the signal. Some people are scared. Some are excited. Some are convinced it's a hoax, despite the fact that you can verify it yourself with the right equipment. Emergency preparedness websites are seeing massive traffic spikes. Stores in some areas are reporting increased sales of emergency supplies, water, non-perishable food, batteries. Not panic buying like a hurricane, but elevated purchasing from people who figure better safe than sorry. Some religious groups are holding emergency prayer services. Some New Age communities are calling this the greatest spiritual event in history. Some survivalists are saying, "We told you something was coming." Meanwhile, governments are quietly preparing in ways that most people don't notice. Military leaves cancelled in several countries. Emergency management agencies reviewing protocols. Satellite networks being checked and backed up. The kind of preparations you do when you're not sure what's coming but want to be ready for anything. One emergency management director put it simply, "We have 11 days until something happens. We don't know if it's first contact, an attack, a natural phenomenon, or something else entirely. But when an interstellar object gives you a specific deadline and then starts moving to meet that deadline, you prepare." NASA scheduled another press conference for tomorrow morning. This time, it's different. The NASA administrator will be there personally, not a lower-level spokesperson. Representatives from the Department of Defense will attend. Scientists from multiple agencies. International partners will be connected remotely. That's not a regular update. That's a major announcement. That's NASA finally admitting publicly what everyone already knows. The signal is real, it's significant, and it's concerning enough that top officials need to speak directly to the public. What will they say? Most people expect them to acknowledge the signal, confirm the countdown, and try to provide reassurance about preparations without revealing how worried they actually are. But some insiders think NASA might go further. With the information already public and the signal repeating every 3 minutes where anyone can verify it, maybe they'll be more transparent. Maybe they'll admit, "We don't know what this means. We're preparing for multiple scenarios. Here's what we're doing." Or maybe they'll try to downplay it. Yes, there's a signal. It's interesting, but not necessarily dangerous. Everyone should remain calm. Whatever they say, people will be watching body language as much as listening to words. You can tell a lot about how serious something is by watching whether the people briefing you look scared. Right now, as you're watching this, that signal is transmitting. Every 3 minutes, Atlas broadcasts its warning. The harsh tone designed to trigger human fear responses. The countdown showing 10 days, 22 hours, 31 minutes, and decreasing. The list of major cities proving Atlas knows exactly where we live. And nobody can explain why. Nobody can say what happens when the countdown reaches 0. Nobody knows if this is a warning to help us, a threat to control us, or information we're misinterpreting completely because we don't understand the context. All we know for certain, Atlas sent a signal that triggered panic at NASA. That signal contains a countdown to a specific moment 11 days away. Atlas is maneuvering to arrive at Earth at exactly that moment, and the signal keeps repeating, never stopping, never changing, like someone making absolutely sure we get the message. 4 hours ago, Atlas sent a warning that NASA couldn't ignore, a tone designed to scare us, a countdown to a specific moment, coordinates of every major city on Earth. The signal repeats every 3 minutes and will continue until the countdown reaches 0 in 11 days. Atlas is moving to arrive at exactly that moment. NASA went into emergency protocols for the first time ever. Other countries are mobilizing, and nobody will tell us if this is warning, threat, or invitation. We have 11 days to find out. The countdown is running. The signal won't stop, and whatever Atlas planned when it decided to send this warning, we're about to experience it whether we're ready or not. What do you think the signal means? Warning to evacuate? Threat demonstration? Contact announcement? Something else? Drop your theories in the comments and subscribe, because over the next 11 days, every update about that countdown will matter. Every change in Atlas's behavior will tell us more, and when that timer hits 0, you'll want to know immediately what happens. The warning has been sent. The clock is ticking, and we're all waiting to see what happens when it runs out.